Hi guys, welcome back to Bake by Finn. My name's Finn and today I'm going to be showing you how to use these Zoes Fancy Cakes face moulds, and these are a few of the things that I've made before with them. And today I'll be showing you how to make these heads, and huge thanks to Zoe for letting me do this video, and the link to where you can get the face moulds from the Zoes Fancy Cakes shop will be in the description. So for this video we are going to be using the Zoes Fancy Cakes face mould. And this is the smaller one that doesn't have any eyes on it, so we are going to be putting our own eyes on it, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do in this video. And this is food grade silicone, as you can see, and you know it's the Zoes Fancy Cakes one because it has Zoes Fancy Cakes written on the side. We're also going to be using the fractal edible pens and also some edible food dust. This is just going to be for the lips and also the blusher on the cheeks. Now we are also going to be using some modelling tools. These all come in a PME kit, and it's the Drisden tool, the scalpel, and I have no idea what that one is called, so I'm sorry for that. We're also going to be needing some paintbrushes, and I just have a few different sizes, but you're just going to need one fairly big one and one fine paintbrush. So I've got about 25 grams of skin tone modelling paste here. I'm using the Sericino one, and to get the paste in the mould, you just need to put a bit of corn flour in the mould, and then push the paste in as firm as you can, and that is just to get all the detail into the nose and the mouth. And once you've done that, just sort of smooth the edges a bit with your pinky, as you can see me doing here, and just give the top a bit of a rub. Now you can see that there is a bit of a bulge and it's not flush, and that'll just help us get the paste out of the mould. So just to firm my paste up, I just like to leave it in the freezer for 6 minutes, and to get it out, you do not want to push the back of the mould because this will just destroy all of the detail on it. Instead, what we want to do is grab a skewer, stick it into the sort of bulge on the side and just wiggle it free. And this will get the paste out without ruining the mould. So for this one, we're going to be doing the one that has the closed eyes. And I'm just going to get the rounded tool that I showed you at the beginning of the video to just poke 2 initial holes in it, and then I'm just going to wiggle that around to make them a little bit bigger. It's up to you how big you want the eyes to be, and it just really depends. And if you don't feel that confident with doing the eyes, you could use the Silvia Mancini Easy Eyes, and I will be showing you how to do one of them with one of the eye moulds in a bit. So then we're just going to get our scalpel and sort of cut a little corner out of the eyes just to make it like a little lemon. And then we're going to get the other end of the Drisden tool and flatten the base of the eye. It just makes it look a little bit more cartoony. And then we're going to add a small amount of paste into that sort of crater where the eye is going to be, and then just smooth that out so it looks like the eyelid. We're then just going to do the exact same thing with the other eye, just getting the same amount of paste and pushing that in. And again, just doing the exact same thing. There's nothing different to what you just seen me do with the other eye. So now we're going to be doing the bit which a lot of people struggle with, and that is the eyebrows. And to do this, I've got the brown fractal pen and I'm just going to paint them on. Now I'm getting my larger brush and I'm just going to dip it in some of the light pink dust and then just brush it on the cheeks just to make it look a little bit more lively and just give it a little bit of character. And then I'm just going to brush a little bit on the nose and a little bit on the forehead. So now we are going to be adding the eyelashes, and I've just painted a little bit of water onto the base of the eye, and then I've got some black modelling paste here that I've just made thinner at one end, and that'll be sort of the corner of the eye. And then once I've got that stuck down, I'm going to use the end of the Drisden tool just sort of flatten it out, and then grabbing a knife, just sort of trim it at a bit of an angle, so it's at an angle basically. And then I'm just going to do the exact same thing to the other eye. And when you're doing this, take a little bit of time with the second one so you can get it the exact same as the first one. So for the lip paint, I'm going to be using the Fractal Cherry Red and some dip-in solution to create a paint. And I've got a fine paintbrush here just because I want the lines not to be as messy, so she doesn't look like she's been eating jam with her hands. So this is just sort of the makeup on the face, and just to put some makeup over the eyes, I'm using the Dazzlers set of the palettes of dust, and you can get these at the Zoes Fancy Cakes website, so I'll put a link to that in the description where you can get them from, but they are often out of stock, so if you see one, definitely get them quick. And then I've just got a flat paintbrush and I'm sort of painting some over the eyes. I did go for purple here and it doesn't look that good on camera, but then I decided to swap it out a little bit and just paint a little bit of pink over that, just because it looked a little bit too dark. Right, so now we have got our edible pen back and I'm just painting some freckles onto this figure and then that's it done. So now we're moving on to our second face, and I'm just using a cornflower pouch just to put some cornflour in the mould so it stops the paste from sticking. And I'm using a slightly darker skin tone here, and again we're just doing the exact same thing as before, pushing it in so it gets into all the detail, and then we're going to place it in the freezer for 6 minutes just so the paste firms up enough for us to get it out of the mould. So now we're getting the paste out of the mould, and to do this we're just loosening the edges, putting a cocktail stick into the paste, and then we're just pulling it out gently, just like we did with the others. This process is the same for all 3 of the faces. Now as you can see, it does have cornflour on it, and because it's a darker skin tone it does show up more, but don't worry because we can get rid of that really easily just by getting a dry paintbrush and just dusting it off. So I decided for this face I wanted it to have sort of an open mouth smiley look about it, so I'm just getting my scalpel and just drawing a little cut into the mouth, and then I'm just using the scalpel just to open the mouth a little bit, just so it's open enough so I can get the end of my Dresden tool in there just to widen it a little bit more. Now when you do this it will sort of de-shape the mouth area, but don't worry because as you can see we're doing here, we're just getting our Dresden tool and we're just sort of reforming the bottom lip a little bit. And as you can see we've just got the smallest amount of white paste and we've just put that into the mouth area, and then we're just nudging it into shape and getting it in the places that we want. And then I got my Dresden tool and I sort of tucked it round just so it looked like it was actually in the mouth and not just stuck onto it. So now I'm putting the eyes in it, and I'm using a Sylvia Mancini Easy Eye kit, and this is from the Harry Potter Easy Doll, and they aren't going to stay this size. I just wanted them for sort of a base template for me to go on, and I often do this because sometimes I don't have the easy eyes that are the right sizes, but it just works as a nice base so then I can build on it. So I'm getting my rounded end tool, and now I'm just sort of making the eye a little bit bigger and a little bit more rounded, just so it fits the size of my face. And then I'm getting the Dresden tool and just sort of making the corners of the eye a little bit sharper and a little bit neater. And then that is basically the eye cavity done for this one. Again, we're just putting a little bit of pink dust onto the cheeks for this one, as it just makes it look a little bit more lively again. And that's basically it. We're just putting it on the nose, a little bit on the chin and a little bit on the forehead. If it is a bit too dark, you can paint a little bit of cornflour over it, and that will just sort of lighten the shade of whatever colour you're using. And again, we're putting the eyes in with just a little bit of white, and then I struggled a little bit with these so I couldn't get the right size, so I just had to keep taking a little bit of white out and just taking it, adding a little bit to it, so it just fit perfectly. And then I did this 2 times, and then again just using the end of my Dresden tool just to sort of push them into shape and neaten the bottom edge of them up a little bit. So I'm using my black edible pen here to paint on the pupil, well I think it's a pupil, the sort of black thing that's in the eyes, because this is a more cartoony looking eye face. That didn't make any sense, but still. And then I'm just sort of painting a sort of oval into them, and then we're going to put our eyelashes on, and this is the same as we did the eyelashes last time, but instead they're going on the top of the eyes because the eyes are open. And then we're just cutting them at an angle and sticking them on with a little bit of water. So now you can see me adding a little bit of white into the corners of the eyes. Now I've just done this with some white dust and a bit of dipping solution to create a white paint, and this is just sort of the catch lights in the eye. And now I'm painting the lips onto it, the exact same as we did last time, but for this one I'm just taking a little bit more time, and I'm just spending a little bit more time in it because this has teeth on it, and because it's white it'd be a lot more obvious if I got a load of red smudged on the teeth. And now we're adding the eyebrows to this, and obviously the shape of the faces are all the same, but it is really the eyes and the sort of eyebrow expressions that make them look completely different to each other. And for this one I've just rolled a little ball of black paste, but one end is a lot thinner, and then I'm using the Dresden tool just to curve it and give it a little bit of expression. And that one is done. So we are moving on to our third and final face now, and this is going to be the one with the sort of realistic eyes. Well, realistic compared to the other ones. And we're doing this the exact same, and just the same as the others with the amount of paste and all that. And then we've got it out, and I'm using some Sylvia Mancini Easy Eyes, and I haven't really changed the shape of these too much when I've sort of pressed them in, because I thought the shape of that one worked quite well with the size of the face. And then again, as we did with the last one, I've just covered the inside of the eye with the white, and then I've got the turquoise fractal pen, and I'm just going to paint a ring of the colour, and then once we've got that ring of colour, I'm going to get a damp paintbrush and go from the colour and drag it in, and that'll just help it look a little bit more realistic than just a solid block of colour for the eyes. Now you see me doing that here for the second eye, and we've just done that exactly the same. And sorry, I got it a bit out of shot there, well, completely out of shot because it's not even in the picture anymore, but it's back now. So now we're adding a little bit of black for the pupil of the eye, and we're just nudging that into place with the end of the Dresden tool and then just squishing it flat, just so it's got a little bit of a larger surface area and it just looks a little bit more right. And then we're adding the catch lights in again. This time we're using modelling paste for that, not painting them on, just because the rest of the eye is made with modelling paste, so I just thought I'd fit the theme of it. And then we're adding the eyelashes now, just the same as we did with the other one. Just paint a little bit of water so it sticks, and then pressing it into place with the end of the Dresden tool. And then we're cutting that at an angle again, just as we did with the last one, and then we're doing that with the other eye. So basically each one of these faces are sort of the same, except each time we move up one, I'm just showing you a little bit more detail to add to them. So now we're painting the lips, and you've seen me do this before, and it's the exact same as we did with the first one. And now we are painting on the eyebrows with the brown edible pen, just like we did with the first one. And to do this, I'm just painting a little line, and then sort of doing a curve, and then starting a little bit higher, and then doing another curve so it meets at a point at the end. Now remember, you probably won't get the eyebrows perfectly the same, or at least I don't, and if I don't start adding loads more to them, because then I make the eyebrows really thick and I'm beating myself up about it because I know that I shouldn't have done that. And then now we're just adding a little bit of blush onto the cheeks. Again, we've done this with all of them so far, and then onto the forehead as well. And I've added just a little freckle on the side of the cheek. And then I've used a rubber-ended tool to put little dimples in the cheeks, and that's this face done as well.